Hello students, hello everyone. Welcome to Super Grads and I'm your English mentor Sana Jafri. So the series is going strong and steady, right? And this is yet another session. This happens to be my third session. That means the third session on VA in this series. So the series is Hacks to Solve IPMAT questions. And here in the VA part, we have been discussing some wonderful ways of, getting around some tricky questions, right? And we've so far considered what are the tricks or the techniques or the nice hacks to crack questions in less time with higher accuracy. And along with that, we've also discussed some things like, can you work out some questions even when you're not sure about them? Okay. So this is kind of, making some smart guesses. And that's, if you follow my strategy, that's going to be, very spot on ways of cracking question. Thereby, you can increase your attempts and increase your overall score. Isn't that great? So today, I'm sure you're wondering, what do I have for you today? Today, I am going to focus on two important things. Number one, idioms, and number two, paracompletion. So with idioms, I would say I don't think there's any student who can say, okay, ma'am, I am very comfortable with idioms and I know all of them. That's just not possible. There are a plethora of idioms available. There are a bevy of idioms, and trust me, no matter how hard you work on them, no matter how exhaustive your compendium of idioms is, I am sure you will come across some new idiom here or there. And so, what can be done if you come across an idiom about which you are clueless or about which you have some idea but you're not very sure? So, क्या approach होनी चाहिए idioms को crack करने की, उस पे बात करेंगे. ठीक है? But before that, there's something which is very, very devastating for students sometimes, and that is paracompletion, which is a regular feature of IPMAT Indore exam. Okay, so you straight away get 5 questions on paracompletion, so it amounts to 20 marks. Imagine the gravity of this, right? Imagine the weightage of this topic. What is so tricky about paracompletion is that you have to ultimately anticipate what the author is going to say, right? So if any one of you doesn't know about paracompletion, don't you worry, right? Just hold your horses. You will get to see some questions very soon. And then not just the questions, some nice on point and very precise techniques of getting them right. Okay, so please understand here, I'm not going to explain the entire methodology of cracking paracompletion questions. That's not going to happen, but I will just through some examples convey the most important things कि कैसे एकदम चुटकी बजा के हम कैसे इतने quickly बिल्कुल correct answer निकाल सकते हैं paracompletion का भी. So this is what is in store for you today, right? But as we say, let's move simple to complex. Before we jump to paracompletion, let's attempt sentence completion. यहाँ पे सिर्फ एक sentence होगा और आपको उसको complete करना है. So IPMAT Indore 2022 का ये question है, बढ़िया question है. एक बार जरा देखो जल्दी से. And it's like very easy. A sentence has been given and you have to complete this, right? This is very, very similar to fill in the blanks. This might look like a regular fill in the blank question, but then as you will proceed, this is another question lined up. You would see that, ये जो है, अब ये 3 words का आ गया, कभी-कभी ये और लंबा भी हो सकता है. So ultimately है 1 to 2 sentences, but then they have to be completed. So chalo, we'll start with this and then we'll build up and when it will eventually take a paracompletion. Fine. So coming to this particular question. Ever since Grish won the prestigious Infosys prize, he has been behaving dash. Now imagine that we don't know the meaning of a few words. I am sure everybody would know ambitiously. I'm sure everybody would know overly, overly, excessively. But overly अकेले अपने आप में काफी नहीं होगा. Overly what? Overly arrogant or what? Basically, हम इसको independently उतना नहीं consider कर पाएंगे because this looks very vague. Ambitious सबको पता है, ये भी नहीं हो सकता है. Controversially, condescendingly. Now imagine a student who has never seen the word condescendingly and would certainly get perplexed by looking at this one and may even leave the question. But then as I say, some smart work here and there will definitely help you increase your attempts. And that too, these are not blind guesses, right? This is called calculated guess and I'm teaching you how to make it, right? Okay, so controversial, what controversial? I don't think a behavior would become controversial. I don't think reading the context you would choose controversial. And controversial is one such word जो सबको पता होगा. Related to some of the other controversies, right? Controversy create करने वाला behavior. तो I think controversially से better condescending लगता है, even if you don't know the meaning, because you can figure out that controversial may not be the perfect word. Why? Because यहाँ पे what we understand from this sentence is that he has some airs now. Okay, he's considered himself very superior because he has won the award. So controversial behavior would not fit in logically. A better match would be condescendingly. And by the way, let me tell you, how can you remember this word condescending? Do you see descend in condescending? What do you mean by descend? Descend is ऊपर से नीचे जाना, right? So if someone is condescending, right, they belittle you. वो आपको नीचा दिखाते हैं. वो ऊपर उठ जाते हैं और आपको नीचे कर देते हैं और उनको लगता है कि वो superior है आपसे. So they have that arrogance. So this is condescending attitude because they belittle everybody around them, right? And this fits in so well. So even if you didn't know, with elimination, you could have cracked this question. Let's move ahead. For the past 3 decades, this chain of coffee shops has been committed to building a culture where everyone is welcome. Mark the keyword, everyone is welcome. They are an ally to the LGBTQ community, and this is just one instance of their dash. Very simple. We can see LGBT, we can see everyone is welcome. So obviously, what would be the best match? C. Directly आप समझ सकते हो. Even if you don't really know well what is the meaning of discretionary, even if you are not very sure about the meaning of the word inclusivity here, it fits in well. By the way, inclusivity आप समझ सकते हो with inclusion. It cannot be discriminatory. That's opposite. You everybody knows what is discrimination. भेदभाव करना. When everyone is welcome, so obviously भेदभाव तो हो नहीं सकता, right? Mindfulness and objectivity. Well, there are many students surprisingly who don't understand the meaning of objectivity. Mindfulness would be a very neutral word. You're mindful, you're very careful about things. But here, this would not be a logical fit. So, what I am trying to download here is that in English, sometimes, even if you don't know the meaning of each and every word, sometimes taking a risk is fine and you may get the right answer also. This does not mean that I am encouraging you to go for flukes. No, please don't get me wrong. And I would always insist that developing a robust and a rich vocabulary is imperative for cracking this examination. Because here I'm just telling you ways in which you can actually approach a question when you don't know each and every word. Because otherwise, तो शायद आपके attempts बहुत ज़्यादा कम हो जाएंगे. But then what I'm insisting upon is that, there are ways to actually, crack such questions or approach such questions. यहाँ पे हमें diversity बहुत clear समझ में आ गया ना. And inclusivity comes from inclusion, where you include every type of person, right? So C is the best answer. Now we come to para completion. Now this is what a para completion question looks like. I hope many of you are familiar with it. And yes, here, what is there? A paragraph is given and there is a blank. And out of the 4 choices given, you have to choose the most befitting choice, right? So ideally, you must read the entire paragraph. But here in this case, because we're talking about tips and tricks, okay? So we're talking about hacks. So I'll tell you how, with minimum reading, with minimum energy and effort, we can actually come to the perfect answer, right? There's a blank. And then this happened after a lorry laden with tomatoes worth 21 lakh rupees went missing. The trick is that, whenever you have this blank, pay a lot of emphasis on the adjacent ideas. उस blank के आगे पीछे के ideas. Why am I saying आगे पीछे? Because this blank can be somewhere in the middle also. This blank be at the end, can be at the end also, right? तो उसके आगे पीछे के जो भी ideas है ना, उसको बहुत ध्यान से देखना है. उसकी language और logical connectivity पे बहुत ध्यान देना होगा. ठीक है? तो जब हम बोलते हैं this happened after a lorry laden with tomatoes went missing, ठीक है, तो it is very evident that this should be supported in the preceding blank. तो ये जो blank है ना, इसमें आपको एक event clearly बताना होगा, ठीक है. You have to tell what exactly happened. Fine. यानी कि this happened after a lorry went missing. तो हुआ क्या? टमेटोज का ट्रक तो गायब हो गया. तो इसका मतलब हमें बताना होगा कि भाई उसकी वजह से क्या हुआ. You get me? So here we actually need to maybe include an effect. क्योंकि बोल रहा है ये तब हुआ जब एक टमेटोज का ट्रक गायब हो गया. So when you quickly run through the options, you would say panic and confusion reigned among traders in the Kolar agricultural produce market. They got really panicky. There was a lot of confusion. And when did this happen? This happened when tomatoes का ट्रक गायब हो गया. अब आगे चल के you are actually building upon that idea. ठीक है? Okay. Why not other option? Why not C? A is a very generic answer. Ke Nashik overtook Kolar as the biggest tomato market. I think this is totally irrelevant to the discussion. Fine. So this cannot fit in. A couple took the hijacked vehicle to a nearby market and sold the tomatoes there. No, this cannot be the answer. Why? क्योंकि ये this happened after वाली चीज नहीं हो सकती. Okay, and this is not the effect of it. हमको ऐसा कुछ बताना है कि जब एक टमाटर से भरा ट्रक गायब हो गया तो उसका इफेक्ट क्या हो गया कि लोगों में बहुत कंफ्यूजन होगा, लोग बौखलाने लग गए कि यार अब ट्रकों की भी चोरी होने लगी. ठीक है, फाइन. एक्चुअली because tomatoes were very expensive, and here onwards there's a description. This is the third time tomatoes have been stolen following the rise of tomato prices to rupees 150 per kg. So इस वजह से clearly you can understand that B is going to be the right answer. Latest paper का ये question है, IPMAT Indore 2024 का question. Three traders jointly hired a lorry to carry tomatoes, but then this cannot come. ना तो समझते हो, right? So see how doable this question was, how quickly we did this. We didn't even have to read the entire paragraph. Does not mean that I'm deterring you or discouraging you from reading it, but I'm trying to tell you, if you have that clarity of thought, you can definitely crack any question coming your way. Okay? Chalo theek hai, let's try another question from the latest paper of IPMAT Indore. Here it is. ये भी 2024 का क्वेश्चन है. चलिए फटाफट इसको देखते हैं. थोड़ा सा पढ़ना पड़ेगा. May not be till the end, but then you'll have to read. Now, the pursuit of a career in sports offers individuals opportunities for personal fulfillment and professional success. And there is a blank. ठीक है. Athletes must therefore undergo rigorous training regimes to maintain peak physical condition and hone their skills. फिर वो बोलते हैं competition fears है, ये सारी चीजों की जरूरत है, and so on and so forth. Not getting ahead. अभी इतने में भी हमें आंसर मिल सकता है. Trying to save on my time. Okay, now that I've understood that this particular blank has to act like a bridge between the preceding and the succeeding idea, that I have to be clear about. जो ब्लैंक से पहले बात हो रही है वो क्या हो रही है कि बहुत रिवॉर्डिंग करियर होता है स्पोर्ट्स में. ठीक है, पीपल गेट fulfillment also, and professionally they get a lot of success also. So this is talking about how rewarding a career in sports is. But then after the blank it is saying athletes must therefore undergo rigorous training regimens to maintain physical condition. Focus is maintaining physical condition and chiseling or honing their skills. Which option can come close? Quickly run through the options quickly and tell me. Yeah, what do you think? Let's see. Sports careers are often short-lived due to the physical demands and risks of injury associated with athletic competition. क्या ये आ सकता है? 100% आ सकता है. क्यों? क्यों? Because this was telling that, career in sports can be very fulfilling. However, it is short-lived because of the injuries involved, because of the physical pressure, the physical demands of the profession. And therefore, you must maintain your best form. Therefore, you must go through rigorous training. I'll put a small tick here. Athletes often face pressure from coaches, sponsors, and fans to perform at their best, adding to the stress of professional sports. Now, while this may look appealing, but please understand this is essentially focusing on one thing, which is psychological stress. Whereas this sentence is talking about physical stress. We're talking about, your best form. We're talking about honing your, physical aspects as a sportsman, right? So that way, because we are talking about the physical condition. So A versus B, which one you're going to choose? Certainly A. And that is the right answer. Well, talking about C, this can continue the idea, but then this will not be in sync with the succeeding idea, right? And higher education, irrelevant. CND are out of the game. क्या अप्रोच है, क्या ट्रिक आपने सीखी है कि सबसे जो एडजेसेंट आइडिया है, जो उसके पहले और उसके बाद का जो आइडिया है, उससे लॉजिकल कंटिन्यूटी बनाना बहुत जरूरी है. और ये जो आपके कीवर्ड्स हैं उन पे फोकस करना जरूरी है. जैसे हमने यहाँ पे देयरफॉर पे फोकस किया, इससे पहले वाले क्वेश्चन में हमने दिस पे फोकस किया. सो ये जो कीवर्ड्स हैं, right, which are sometimes maybe a pronoun or maybe sometimes a kind of a conjunction, they play a very vital role. They will help you in deciding upon the perfect choice. Okay, and I hope that you now have a more sorted approach towards para completion. Detailed inputs चाहिए para completion के लिए, that too I will share with you some other time. Please message me if you need that. I'll come up with that video. All right. Now we move to idioms. अब जब idioms की बात होती है ना, so as I already told you that sometimes you may have to guess. Please understand that idioms are barely and rarely literal in the sense कि जो उसको पढ़ के दिखेगा ना, वो actual उसका meaning होगा नहीं. For example, kick the bucket. So when we say kick the bucket, does it literally mean so? Does it mean कि बाल्टी पे लात मार दी? Of course not. So please tell me what is the meaning of kick the bucket. Message to me in the comment section. Write to us and tell me the meaning of kick the bucket. Meanwhile, coming to this particular question, which is from IPMAT Indore 2023, right? So this says the nasty comments made by strangers on the social media platforms about the actor made him dash. Logically दिमाग लगाएंगे कि made him uncomfortable. ऐसा ही कोई word हमको चाहिए. Now we have so many expressions and all of them starting with ill. अगर मैंने कभी सुना ही नहीं है, then how can I select the answer? The answer is that yes, chances of going wrong are really high, but then I'm just telling you how we can guess. Ill and ache seems like all in pain. Ill in heart, ill at heart. Okay. Ill at ease looks good. Might sound familiar. कभी कभी हमें याद नहीं होता, but the moment we read something like this, और अगर हमारे वो subconscious memory में कभी होता है, वो एकदम से समझे reactivate हो जाता है. But even if you feel that you're not very sure, you're getting confused. If you're very confused, you're in splits, then better to leave it. But then you can give it a try sometimes. Ill at ease, that means uneasy. Ill at heart, while I don't think it's a standard idiom expression, but it could mean that your heart is feeling bad, you're feeling bad something inside, but then you're getting a little edgy, you're getting uneasy. That sounds so good. So sometimes I would not encourage tukke, but I'm saying that very often you can guess the meaning of an idiom, right, when you read it in a sentence or in a question format like this. If you're strategic, you can at least eliminate a few options and you can come closer to the correct one. And this is the right answer. Ill at ease, which means you become uneasy, okay, or uncomfortable or upset about something. Leela is always nasty and inconsiderate with her colleagues. Now that she has a rude superior, she is getting dash. Very interesting. Okay. कहते हैं ना what goes around comes around. कहते हैं ना कर्मा थियरी. तो जो उन्होंने अपने कोलीग्स के साथ में किया, अब उनको वही सबक मिल रहा है एक तरह से. So which one would be a best choice? Now we every time find similar options having medicine. The answer is, come on, what is the answer? The answer is a taste of her own medicine. Bitter medicine would not appeal us. Unpleasant medicine dose हर ओन. यहाँ पे कैच क्या है, जो उसका बिहेवियर था ना, जैसा वो बिहेवियर करती थी वैसा ही उसके साथ अब हो रहा है. तो we should not look for bitter medicine or unpleasant medicine. Rather something like her own medicine would be more logical, right? Now these are very close. A spoon of her own medicine or a taste of her own medicine. And I would say instinctively it might click that it should be B beta, right? But not necessarily so. But still I would say a spoon of looks a little too literal. A taste, क्योंकि मजा चखना, it's more about that experience. So taste sounds better. Now again, class, again, please understand that I'm just demonstrating how you can actually sometimes guess a meaning of an idiom, even if you don't know it. This is just a demonstration. This is just a trick. I want you people to thoroughly prepare idioms. I don't want you to go for flukes, but समझो कि इंग्लिश में कभी ना कभी हमें थोड़े बहुत स्मार्ट गेसेस करने ही पड़ते हैं. Sometimes we are not sure, we are confused between two options, but we are not sure, and we are not sure, तो फिर हम सारे क्वेश्चन छोड़ते ही जाते हैं. बाद में हमें पता चलता है कि नहीं यार, जो हम सोच रहे थे ऑप्शन सी वही सही आंसर है, and then it's too late to regret or remorse over it. So it's about weighing the options, comparing them, contrasting them, and as a last resort you can actually go with a smart guess sometimes in some scenarios, right? Okay. So the answer to this is option B. Ever since, okay, this we've, I think, done. She dashed her classmates because she comes from a very rich aristocratic family. I think this is a very easy one. Okay, 2022 ka question hai ye. In fact, this year in IPMAT and 2024, we saw a huge number of phrasal verbs based questions. So this is a question based on phrasal verbs, right? And here we've got to understand the scenario. Like she dashed her classmates because she comes from a very rich aristocratic family. So clearly sab looks se hai. But then don't you think so if you are from a very elite family, right? Or a class apart kind of a background, then you would probably look down on. ये down से समझ में आ रहा है कि वो नीचा समझ रही है, वो खुद को बड़ा superior समझ रही है. Even if you didn't know the meaning of any of these phrasal verbs. Even if you were not sure about the meaning of look down on, or maybe you had never heard it, still logically यार तुम इतना तो गेस मार सकते हो, इतनी इजाजत हमको होती है, right? So this is the right answer. I know this was very easy, but it was easy for you if you have known this. What about if you had not known it? कभी कभी we are too scared and timid to even attempt such questions, but then थोड़ा सा दिमाग लगाओगे कुछ ना कुछ किया जा सकता है. Now this is a question from IPMAT. Which of the following options is the correct meaning of the underlined phrase in the following sentence? Should spending on the arts be met out of the public purse? Spending on arts, public purse, public बहुत बड़ा clue और purse भी सरकारी खजाना, maybe something that is meant for the public. Looks good. Donation? No. Purse of the art enthusiast? No. We are talking about purse in general. From the money meant to be distributed to the poor and needy? Looks good. From the government money? क्या होना चाहिए? So C and D are very close choices. This one I am leaving for you. आपको मुझे comment section में बताना है, is it C or is it D? I will be waiting for your answers, right? Is it C or is it D? Mark this question and just write to me in the comment section. And that's all. So I hope in the session today you learn some nice tricks. आपको समझ में आया कैसे हम medium based questions को approach कर सकते हैं even when we don't know much about them, right? And para completion में how some keywords can actually help us identify the logical connectivity and the idea flow. All right, and that's all for today, class. Catch you in another session. Thank you so much.